Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to another episode of Frightener22's Saturday Night Movie Drive-In. Now, this week's review is a really unique choice because although I like talking about, really cool mainstream movies that we all have grown up loving and enjoyed, and I think, some of you guys just might want to hear my thoughts on them, it's really fun, especially in this segment, to kind of dig through the bowels of all these great drive-in movies and just kind of pick apart, one that's a little bit lesser known and, especially a really, really good one to share with all you guys in case you guys have never heard about it or anything. And this week's film selection is exactly one of those. So we're going to be taking a look at 1980's Fade to Black. Now, this film deals with a character named Eric Binford, who he's a pretty big geek and he works in Los Angeles delivering like film cassettes and film reels and stuff to movie theaters and what have you. And he's incredibly obsessed with cinema. I mean, he just breathes, and shits movies. This is like what this kid lives for. He goes to the movies all the time. He, acts out his famous, his favorite characters from films all the time. But, he's constantly picked on and he's, an easy target for bullies at work and what have you. So, eventually he just snaps and kind of goes on, a homicidal rage and just ends up like going on this giant killing spree. And each kill that he actually carries out is in the form of one of his favorite movie characters, which is a really cool touch in this film. Now, I'm sure if none of you guys have ever heard of Fade to Black, I'm sure that concept of the film sounds, oddly familiar. And yes, it sounds, very similar to 1996's Scream. But it's really cool because, like I said, this film is from 1980, the golden year of, the dawn of slasher movies. So this is, really, really cool. It predates Scream, and it's really, one of the first slashers, way before Scream, that really takes on that simplistic idea of just taking, your love for movies one step too far. But Fade to Black did it first, and they did it really, really well. For starters, some of the creative forces behind Fade to Black were actually the same talent that were involved in the making of the original 1978 classic Halloween. And that talent being of Irwin Yablans and associate producer Joseph Wolf. So with those credentials, you kind of, go into this movie, I felt pretty comfortable seeing Irwin Yablans and Joseph Wolf's name coming up on the credits, just being like, wow, these guys were involved in this, 2 years after Halloween, so I'm sure, you can obviously tell that they were trying to gain the same success out of Fade to Black as they did with Halloween, but, of course, going into it, knowing that they were a part of Halloween, I figured that this, had to be a step above, more horror movies that were coming out at that time, and lo and behold, I had a fucking great time with this movie. This is a really, really cool movie. I mean, like I said, it takes, that plot that we've all, come to know and kind of, know and love thanks to the Scream trilogy, but it does it in a really, really cool way. I mean, unlike the killers in the Scream movies, those were people that just took their love of movies one step too far and kind of went around, offing people in a ghost face mask. This, the kid in this actually, like I said, picks apart his favorite movie characters in his favorite films and carries out each murder as them. So you see him dressing up as a vampire, the mummy, a famous gangster, a cowboy character. So it's really, really cool to see that. Although these aren't the most inventive kills that we're seeing at, this time in cinema, it's just kind of like the build up to them. I mean, seeing what persona Eric Binford is going to take on with each kill. So it's really, really exciting to see, how his crazy mind works and stuff like that, and just see how he's going to carry out that next murder. The cool thing about that is, throughout the course of it, there's a really cool touch where, although Eric Binford's character is constantly picked upon and bullied, he develops an attraction towards a girl that looks, oddly similar to, his dream girl, that being Marilyn Monroe. So all the while he's offing people, he's, becoming, incredibly obsessed with stalking this Marilyn Monroe look-alike. So that adds a cool touch of him just, going about, being picked on and offing people. But he, has this, obsession with this chick that, drives the story that much more. In addition, the other cool touch about this is that in between Eric Binford switching personas to kill people, there's all these cuts of the classic movies inserted throughout the film, which is really cool. It's just all these little short clips of the films that Eric Binford likes, but they keep using them. Some of the clips that you see throughout the whole film are Night of the Living Dead, Creature from the Black Lagoon, White Heat, just Public Enemy, just a bunch of cool films to be seen. It just kind of adds that really cool movie cinema vibe to this really underrated horror movie from 1980. So it's a really, really cool movie. In addition, one of the bullies that actually picks on Eric Binford throughout the film is a young Mickey Rourke. So look out for that in the film. It's really cool to see another big A-list actor such as Mickey Rourke, seeing him get his start in a little horror movie from 1980. So that's something really cool. Another interesting thing to note is that Chris Stein of Blondie was actually originally hired to compose the soundtrack for this film, but unfortunately scheduling didn't match up and he had to cancel out of the project. But I'm curious to see how that would have unfolded, because Fade to Black on its own, without Chris Stein's involvement, actually has a really great, cool soundtrack that kind of just ups the atmosphere and the ante in this film. So it really is something special. The DVD that I'm actually viewing is actually a VHS transfer onto DVD, and where I got it are actually from my two buddies, Sean and George, who run up VHSPS.com. I know that I've plugged them back in a previous DVD update that I did, and I'll be plugging them again this Tuesday, March 23rd, where I have a whole slew of stuff from them. But these guys make really quality work. They take their whole VHS collection, which is massive, and transfer them to DVD in the highest quality that they can possibly do, and they do actual scans of the front, spine, and back cover of their VHSs. So it's really, really cool to buy from them, and they have just a crazy, crazy great selection of films on their website that are either out of print or have never been released to DVD, and the only way to get them is through the age-old format of VHS. But now, thanks to Sean and George over at VHSPS.com, you can actually get a hold of great films like Fade to Black. So absolutely check them out. They have great stuff to offer. That's VHSPS.com. So, in closing, this is actually a really excellent, excellent film that really shouldn't be missed. I mean, a lot of cool shit is going on in it. Like I said, it's not, they don't have the most inventive kills, but it's just that story that really drives it on, of just, a really skitsy kid who has, a really unhealthy love for movies, and takes, just kind of takes that plunge into the dark and it starts going on, a crazy killing spree all throughout it. So I would absolutely check this film out if you guys have never seen it, or just couldn't get a copy of the DVD when it was in print, because this film was actually on DVD at one point. But if you go onto Amazon.com, the DVD release of the film by itself harks up to like $60 from a seller for a new copy. But there was actually a drive-in double feature of this film and Hell Night, which is also out of print. And on Amazon.com, if you want a new copy of that, that goes up to like $160. So, as I've said it time and time again, but, thanks to last year and the great horror releases that we had released to DVD last year, I'm pretty hopeful that 2010 is going to be another great year for horror. So hopefully, within the next year or so, Fade to Black will hopefully get, a much-needed re-release on DVD for all horror fans to enjoy. But if you guys just, go back to that website that I mentioned earlier, VHSPS.com, definitely get yourself a copy of Fade to Black, because it is a really awesome, kick-ass horror movie from 1980 that shouldn't be missed. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will see you guys next week with another installment of Frightener 22's Saturday Night Movie Drive-In. Thanks again.